So behind me is the infamous prison Alcatraz, which once housed Al Capone. 1934 to 1963, it's supposed to be inescapable. There was, I think, several attempts, but most people died or didn't make it. But there was 2 guys that they're not sure if they made it or to land or not. As you can see, it's not as far as I thought it would be, but it is pretty choppy, so this is supposed to be inescapable. Should we go take a look at Alcatraz? So what started as an adventure, if you look behind us and you see the bridge, we were crossing that bridge and I seen that Ferris wheel and I was like, oh, that looks cool, let's go check out the Ferris wheel. Little did I know, when I looked down I said, what's that over there? I looked it up, it's actually Alcatraz prison. I didn't think when I was waking up this morning I'd be going to prison, especially one of the most famous prisons probably in the world. We've got the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. This is a place that housed people like Machine Gun Kelly, Al Capone, and now I'm about to do some time in Alcatraz. Only a couple hours. That gives you a scope of how big San Francisco is. Like compared to LA, like I really didn't think it'd be that big, but I think this is one of the best angles you'll get of it. That's the bridge we came across. Look how fucking big that bridge is. After 3 escape attempts from 3 different prisons, in 1957, 23-year-old Bill Baker was sent to Alcatraz, the nation's first supermax prison. He learned how to manufacture and cash counterfeit payroll checks, a trade that landed him in and out of prison for the next 50 plus years. Let's go meet Bill Baker. He's actually here today. He's in his 90s. He's at the bookstore for about another half hour. Shifty Bill, eh? Billy Baker, the counterfeit maker. How are you?
Hello.
How's your day?
Pretty good.
What's this place like? What's this place like to you?
Yeah, it was a prison. It was a maximum security prison. It was used as a punishment prison for people who broke rules in other federal prisons. They sent them here for attitude adjustment, whatever you want to call it. They did their thing here and then they shipped them back to the prison they came from to finish their time. That was a normal procedure. The bad part of this place, among many other things, was being locked in your cell most of the time. Everybody had a single cell. You're locked in your cell, except to work. Monday through Friday. There's no recreation, no nothing except work. Get out of your cell, they go to work, when you're through working, they put you back in your cell. They had a saying here that we don't have to spank them every day, all we have to do is lock them in their cell long enough to spank themselves. It's really true.
Wow. So that was William Baker, the last surviving inmate of Alcatraz prison. He's the last one alive. So when he's gone, everyone that served time here will be. But what he said was, they had a saying, the guards had a saying that we don't need to spank them, they'll spank themselves. And they'd lock them into that cell until they lost their mind, and for doing 50 plus years in prison, the guy seemed like he was still pretty sharp in the mind. Like you wouldn't know, like he's like a granddad, like he seems like he's got it all together. So I think doing that much prison will definitely change you. Like I know people that have done a certain amount of years and after a certain amount of time, it has a greater impact. But for him to be still in sound mind and 91 years old is pretty amazing. Yeah, that's William Baker. So this is the actual cell, 152 and 150, that the escape in 1962 happened. So this is another inmate that escaped. So apparently they used a silver spoon to get out the back of their cells. So apparently they got out through there and climbed the pipework to the top. With the escapees, they never found their bodies, but the FBI concluded that they almost certainly drowned. So right here, we've got the famous Al Capone cell, cell number B181. Al Capone is actually in that cell. That's crazy. He's got a crazy look in his eye. Look at his eyes. You can see the cells behind us. They're pretty small. So imagine spending 23 hours in here You got cunts across here, you got cunts across here. I guess Al Capone didn't have no one to yell out to. Like, he could yell out to people, but at least these guys can see each other. But imagine that. Like the fact that William guy, I should have asked him what cell he had. It's probably in his book. I'm sure they'll say what cell he's got. 128. We're actually in Alcatraz, can you believe it? I've never been so excited to go to jail before. So they'd get a packet on Monday, Wednesday and Friday of cigarettes, whether they smoked or not. Shit, so it wasn't that bad. See, if you were to get locked up here, you'd rather be on this side. Because if you're in the middle, you see how the cells face each other. Imagine you're batting off and you're just looking at your cellie while you're hanging a shit. The cunt's just eyeballing you. Bit uncomfortable. No privacy. But this side at least, you got the... So if you got sent to D block, the treatment unit, you get adequate food and healthcare, but you're confined to your cell 24 hours a day. And that stretch could last a few days or several years, depending on the offence. The six closed front cells were used for the most severe disability problems. These 6 cells, these are the whole. So it's pretty much darkness. So this is the hole. This is where the worst prisoners would get sent, 24 hours a day. People would have lost their minds in here. It's pretty crazy. So in 1946, there was a riot and the Marines dropped hand grenades from the roof. And this is what happened. This is from hand grenades. Pretty crazy. In 1946, there was a riot and they took 5 guards hostage in cells 402, 403. One of the officers, he hid the key and they shot him point blank and he died. Then the Marines came in and dropped grenades because it was a riot. And it was an unsuccessful escape due to the officer hiding the key. But they almost got the access to guns, or they did get access to guns, and they almost made it out, but they couldn't get through the final door. So one of the prisoners made a device with a bolt and nut, and he found a weakened section like this. And when it turned it until it became accessible. So Officer William Miller was one of several correctional officers held hostage in this cell during the 1946 escape attempt. He hid the key that the prisoners needed to complete their escape. Inmate Joseph Kretzer murdered Officer Miller by shooting point blank into this cell. So he died in this cell. So this is the recreational yard for Alcatraz. This is where they'd walk around. This is the only time they'd get to see outside. And they said, like, if the wind was blowing in the right direction, they could hear, especially on New Year's Eve, the voices of women and people and music. A couple of times during the year they might hear it, but they always heard it on New Year's Eve. And it just reminded them of the outside world. So you're walking the yard right now. Al Capone walked, Machine Gun Kelly walked, and many more. So that's Alcatraz prison. It was, something we discovered just randomly. We got to meet the last surviving prisoner, Billy Baker. We got to see Al Capone's cell, learn about the riots and the history of this historic place. And join me for the next trip. We're out.